First, I want to discover with them, not to them, new spiritual disciplines. I really loved the list of spiritual disciplines that we have so far. Richard Foster, Dallas Willard. Wow, this is wonderful. But let me tell you something. Some of my people are asking me for some spiritual disciplines that help them to engage the life instead of get rid of. You see what I'm saying? Instead of to abandon normal life, Pastor, give me some disciplines that can help me to make difference in my workplace. What if instead of fast of Jews, I help my people to fast of narcissism in the workplace? Because narcissism, it's a emotional, spiritual demon. And the workplace is the perfect arena for this demon come up. So I'm totally engaged with them to try to discover new disciplines. My second commitment is, must be a turning point in my mind. I want to make disciples of Jesus, not only to have a better church. Because imagine, from the pastoral point of view, if I have a church full of disciples of Christ, authentic followers of Christ, I'm not going to have any problem. Because this kind of church would be wonderful church to be pastor, right? I am trying to make the discipleship process in my church, not to improve the church, but to try to change the world. And I don't want to be better disciples to feed my vanity in my church, but I'm trying to equip them to make difference in their own settings. How can I help them to make difference in the workplace? And I believe so. That the business arena, who owns the business arena, owns the most of the power of our society. That's why I had a remarkable workshop with Bob this afternoon. And I wish that my sons would be there. Because this is kind of business model that we're talking about. My friends, and the third thing, and the last one, is that I'm totally committed to step down from the pulpit and sit with my people and eat with them. I'll explain. Have you ever noticed the weird relation that Jesus had with food in the Bible? You never noticed? Okay, let me refresh your memory. One day, there is a bunch of people starving, and Jesus multiplied 5 bread or 5 loaves and some few fishes, right? And he fed a big crowd. But there were some leftovers, right? 12 baskets or something. So Jesus kind of exaggerate in terms of food, right? So, have you noticed that when people used to ask him tell me about how the kingdom of God looks like. Oh, the kingdom of God looks like a banquet. Man, this guy was obsessed by food. Oh, once someone asked him, who you are? I am the bread of life. Can you believe that? His identity was attached with a kind of food. Oh, man. The emails event was my favorite. Here, how I pictured the scene in my mind. Jesus was in a very, very interesting conversation with the 2 disciples. And the night was coming, and one of them said, please, would you like to stay? And Jesus said, no, we're going to have dinner. Okay. So, let me tell you something. At that moment, the disciple didn't recognize that who was that guy. In the moment Jesus break the bread, guess what? People said that, Jesus. He went to the cross, he resurrected, and a bunch of his disciples was in the beach, and he showed up, and people didn't, his disciples was not able to recognize him. Remember this scene? And he said that, what you guys have to eat? You have something to eat? The picture in my scene, Peter looked to Philip and said that this is the Jesus that we know, right? You know what the last thing that Jesus did with his disciples before he was up to the heaven? He sat with them and he ate with them. And if I didn't make my point so far, let me just refresh your memory in one thing. Revelation is the last book of the Bible, the last message, the closing. What's written there? Jesus saying, I am in your door, knocking in your door. If you listen and open, what Jesus is going to do? Is going to your kitchen, sit with you, and have a supper with you. Is that right? Let me tell you something. Jesus didn't do this because he was a compulsive eater. This is not the answer at all. You know what, man? Jesus creates a community of the table because in that culture, the ultimate openness to someone else is to eat with. In the temple, the women and the children are not allowed to go inside and worship God. But in the Jesus table community, everybody were welcome.